Hey everyone, welcome to our real interview experiences series. As you know, we share our subscribers' interview experience here. So, one of our subscribers, Karthik Gupta, recently cracked Java developer interview at Infosys. So, in this video, I am gonna share everything about his experience and what he shared with me. Okay, and guys, if you have attended any interview recently, then fill the form in the description. We will reach out to you. You can choose to share your name, photo, and LinkedIn profile, or share your experience anonymously. We are also giving gift cards to the participants, so don't miss out and don't forget to subscribe to catch more videos like this one. So now let's get started. So he applied through Naukri.com for a role open for 3 to 7 years of experience. After applying, he received a phone call from HR, which basically his telephonic round. During this round, HR asked about his skill set, notice period, and location preferences. After that, he received a mail regarding interview schedule. He had one technical round, so I am summing up all technical questions from this round and going to share with you one by one with a detailed explanation. First, interviewer asked difference between interface and abstract class. So an interface has only abstract methods, whereas Java 8 plus allowed default methods as well. While an abstract class can have both abstract and concrete methods, a class can implement multiple interfaces but extends only one abstract class, whereas interface focus on behavior, abstract classes on structure. Then he asked, can an abstract class implement multiple interfaces and also extend other abstract class simultaneously? So yes, an abstract class can implement multiple interfaces and extend one abstract class at the same time. This allows it to inherit methods from the abstract class and provides implementation for interface methods while keeping some method abstract for subclasses. Then interviewer asked why OOPs are important. So OOPs stands for object oriented programming, and it is very important because it makes code organized, reusable, and scalable. It uses classes and objects to structure programs, ensuring better security, flexibility, and maintainability through concepts like encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. Then they asked the difference between JDK, JRE, and JVM. So JDK stands for Java Development Kit. It provides tools to develop Java programs, including JRE and JVM. JRE stands for Java Runtime Environment. It runs Java applications and includes JVM, which execute Java code by converting it to machine code. Okay. Then he asked, can we install JRE separately without JDK? If yes, then how will it impact Java development and execution? So yes, JRE can be installed separately to run Java applications, but it cannot compile or develop Java programs since it lacks development tools like Java C. For Java development, JDK is needed as it includes both JRE and compiler. Then he asks, if a static block throws an exception, what happens to the class loading process? So if a static block throws an exception, the class fails to load and a exception initialization error occurs. This means the class cannot be used and any attempt to access it will result in a runtime error and stopping execution. Then he asked difference between SOAP and REST. So SOAP is a protocol that uses XML for communication, while REST is an architecture that supports multiple formats like JSON and XML. SOAP is slower and more secure, where REST is faster, lightweight, and widely used for web services. Then interviewer asked, why do some financial services still prefer SOAP over REST? So financial services prefer SOAP because it offers a strong security, that is WS-security, reliable messaging, and asset compliant transaction. It ensures data integrity and strict standards, making it ideal for banking and secure transactions, where REST is more lightweight but less secure. Then he asked how to run a Spring Boot application. So to run a Spring Boot application, we use main method inside the Spring Boot application annotation class, run it using IDE like IntelliJ Eclipse, command line like MVN, or we can use other, and we in the last we deploy it on a server. Then they ask what are the tools used for project development. So project development uses tools like IDE, IntelliJ Eclipse for coding, Maven Gradle for build management, Git for version control, Jira for tracking, Jenkins for CI/CD, Docker Kubernetes for deployment, and Splunk for monitoring. Then he asked what are the steps to create microservices. So to create microservices, we define small independent services. We choose a framework like Spring Boot. We create REST APIs. We use database per service and secure with auth. We manage with Docker Kubernetes, enable Splunk also, and we use Kafka for communication. Before moving ahead, guys, I would like to share one important thing with you. Actually, we had launched complete interpretation material, structured step by step by myself, expert, and MLC's interviewers. And the best part is that now no one need to go anywhere else to prepare interviews. There is a 99% chance that interviewers will ask questions from this material. So basically it contains a lot of material categorized by experience level, means each experience level has different material with all possible interview questions and answers for Java, Spring Framework, Maven, Git, Spring Boot, Spring Security, Spring Data JPA, Kafka, microservices, Java coding question, Stream API coding question, and many more. I have provided the link to get this in the below description, and if someone needs this material plus 2 enterprise client projects for reference plus one-on-one lifetime doubt sessions and refers to the MNCs, then they should check the interview preparation kit. I will provide the link for this as well in the description below. So now moving to our interview experience. So then interviewer asks which annotations use in your project. So in my project I use, you can say as per your project, so whatever I use I'm just going to tell you. So we use request mapping, auto wide, service, repository, entity, transactional, Spring Boot annotation, value, and many more. These helps in handling request, dependency injection, database operation, transactions, and application configuration. Then he asks how to use 2 databases in a Spring Boot. So to use 2 databases in a Spring Boot, define 2 data source beans, create separate entity manager factory and transactional manager, and use primary annotation for the main DB. Configure them in application.properties and use repositories accordingly for each database. Then interviewer asks how to use session methods. So in Hibernate, session methods like save, update, delete, get, and load are used to interact with the database. First, get a session from the session factory, perform operations inside a transaction, then commit and close the session. Then he asked how can you maintain a session in a stateless REST API while ensuring scalability. In a stateless REST API, maintain session using JWT, JSON Web Token, or Redis-based session storage. JWT stores user data in a token while Redis keeps session data centrally, ensuring scalability across multiple services without losing session consistency. Then he asked about what is service, what is component. So service and component are Spring annotation used for bean creation. Service annotation is for business logic classes, while component annotation is a generic annotation for any Spring managed class. Both makes objects available for dependency injection using AutoAdd. Then they ask, can a class be annotated with the both service and component annotation? So yes, a class can have both service and component annotation, but it's unnecessary because service annotation is a specialized version of a component. Using service annotation is recommended for better readability and understanding of business logic classes. Then they asked which is main annotation in the Spring project. The main annotation in Spring Boot project is Spring Boot application, which combines configuration, enable auto configuration, and component scan. It starts application, enables auto configuration, and scans for Spring components, making it entry point of the project. Then he asked how do you handle exception in Spring Boot and which annotation used for exception. In Spring Boot, exceptions are handled using controller advice and exception handler. So REST controller advice is used for global exception handling in REST APIs. Also, response status sets HTTP status code for specific exceptions and ensuring proper error responses. Then they ask how do you test your application. So I test my application using JUnit for unit test cases, Mockito for mocking, Spring Boot test for integration test, Postman for API testing, and Selenium for UI testing. CI/CD tools like Jenkins automate test execution. Then he asks how can you ensure 100% test coverage in Spring Boot application. So to ensure 100% test coverage in Spring Boot application, write unit tests like JUnit Mockito for all methods, use integration tests for APIs, cover edge cases, mock dependencies, and generate reports using JCoco to track uncovered code. Then they ask if any problem in your application in running, how would you find it? So if my Spring Boot application has issues while running, I check logs through the Splunk or any other platform, debug using breakpoints in IDE and analyze stack traces, use Postman for API testing, monitor with Actuator, check database connections, and verify configuration files. So that's how I do. Then he asked what is Agile and what is SDLC. So Agile is a flexible software development method that delivers work in small, fast interaction with continuous feedback. Whereas SDLC, it is a process of building software in steps like planning, designing, coding, testing, and deployment. Then they ask what is the current company sprint duration. So sprint duration varies by company to company, but typically it lasts 2 weeks in agile development. Some teams may use 1 week or 4 weeks sprints as well as project needed. The duration is set to ensure continuous deliver and quick feedback cycles. Then in the end, he asked to write the program for singleton design pattern. So I will provide a solution link for this. So guys, this is all about Infosys technical interview experience, and don't forget to check the interview preparation kit below in the description. Thank you.